Welcome to Your Future Starts Now, the go-to podcast for extraordinary women who are ready to step into their next chapter with authentic confidence. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua, empowerment coach, motivational speaker, children's book author, and girl mom. Whether you're a corporate powerhouse or an entrepreneur, this show is designed for you. Your Future Starts Now is more than just a podcast. It's a movement towards rewriting the rules of success for high-achieving women. Are you ready to get unstuck and step into your next chapter? If so, you're exactly where you need to be. Your future starts now. Welcome to Your Future Starts Now. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua. Thanks for being here with us today. I am so excited to introduce you to Olivia Costanzo. Olivia is the CEO of Aligned. She's a real estate investor and speaker. She's been investing in real estate since 2019, and she continues to create financial freedom by way of real estate, raising capital, running a real estate investment company with their husband. They also host real estate events where they teach others how to invest, shift their energy, mindset mastery techniques, and how to be an energetic match to the unique definition of holistic success that each of us has. Olivia, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you.
In this episode, we are talking about financial freedom and harnessing the power within. So,
Yes.
Olivia, maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about your journey into real estate investing, and kind of how it's evolved since you started.
Yeah, of course. So I actually started getting licensed as a real estate agent back in, I think it's 2015 or 16. And I started out part-time as an agent, and I very quickly realized this wasn't that fun. I don't really love walking through houses and selling people on the crown molding. I'm like, get to the point. Let's go. And I learned about real estate investing, and I learned about owning rentals and residual income. And I thought, okay, this is my speed. This is something I want to do. I want to own rentals. That's my goal. I want to invest in real estate. So that was my introduction to investing. So 2019 is when I got one of my first deals, right? I shifted from being an agent to wholesaling, working with investors. I learned a ton. I started in short sales, a whole bunch of stuff. And then as I was in real estate investing, the whole point is to acquire, right? Acquire units. So since 2018 to present day, that has been the goal. And that's what I've been doing, is acquiring rentals one after the next in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Me and my husband, we invest in real estate full time. So it was quite the journey in the beginning. It was a lot of learning, a lot of, not making a lot of money, pushing through, just trying to figure it out. But I had such a strong desire to have financial freedom and to live life the way I wanted to live and have free time and not really answer to anybody. And, I'm still learning, I'm still doing it, but I've come a long way and I'm really proud of myself, to be honest.
That sounds amazing. And the fact that you were able to pivot so quickly, I think is an important point too, because you said you got licensed, you started traditional real estate, and then realized it wasn't for you. And I feel like so many people in that situation would get stuck, right? They would say, oh, well, this is what I signed up for. This is what I went to school for. I invested all this time and energy behind it. And I just got to suck it up, right? And this is the way it is. But I love the fact that you didn't accept that, right? You realize that that's not for me, but you were able to pivot within the real estate world. And I think that's so powerful.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't able to do that and are so pigeonholed to what they set out to do because they don't think anything else is possible. So
absolutely. So you talk about holistic success in your approach. So tell us a little bit about, how do you define that? What does it mean? And how does it guide your work, the work that you do in real estate investment?
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about holistic success because back in the day, I'm going to say 2010, 12, there was a real hustle culture. Grind, grind, grind. It's a badge of honor to be working 20 hours a day. This crazy kind of culture. And I subscribed. Check. Girl boss, all that corny stuff, all that ego stuff. I'm like, that's me. Yeah. And I'd say the past 4 years, just in my own personal development journey, as I'm getting older, I'm 32. and you think about having a family and what you want your life to look like in all aspects, your health, your mindset, your body, your relationships, your connections, your everything, right? It's a whole holistic success is taking every aspect of your life, which let's just say mental, physical, spiritual, right? Connections, all of that, and being successful in all of that. It's not just, I want to make money and I want to make a lot of money. And this is how much money I want to make so I can have X, Y, and Z and live in this amazing house. That's not what's important to me. Although I have goals and there's things I want, but I define them. Are they heart centered or are they from my ego? So, for example,
Mm.
holistic success for me, when it comes to material things, I don't put a lot of emphasis on it. I don't subscribe to designer and all that kind of stuff. There's certain things that I'd love to have, a dream car, for example. And I said, well, Olivia, if I had this car, this dream car I want, luxury car, and no one knew I had it, and I could only go out to events and meet people in this cheap Toyota, and I could only drive my luxury car by myself, no one knows, just for fun because it feels good, would I still want that luxury car? And the answer was yes, because it's for me and it's just fun. It's something I want, but I'm not defined by. So that's how I determine what's heart-centered or what's ego-centered. Same thing for the home that I'm going to live in, that we're looking for our forever home, or how many rentals we have. Just until recently, it's not something I talk about. I don't lead with money. I don't lead with what I've accomplished. I don't lead with what I have because that's not really success to me. It's the connections I have with people. How do I feel in my body, my physical health, my emotional health, right? Because for us as individuals, everything's connected. Our physical body, our emotions, our thoughts, it all plays into health. So holistic success as a whole is number one for me in all aspects of life and in order of family, relationships. Well, first it's me, health, family, marriage, relationships, and work, right? What I do for, to make money. So that's holistic success is having the whole picture of life, not just money and not just things and not just, connections. It's trying to have balance as best I can.
I love that. That is
Hmm.
incredible. On this show, we talk about redefining success.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to get caught up in, the external expectations, societal expectations, what people
Yep.
have imposed upon you in terms of their expectations of you. And we often get caught up in that, right? The house, the
Hmm.
car, the job, the aesthetics. But that doesn't always bring us fulfillment and happiness, right?
Yeah.
And to your point, health and wellness. So,
Hmm.
how did you have to shift that definition for yourself?
Yeah, I would say I shifted my definition of what success and holistic success looked like for me probably about 3, 4 years ago was when I can mark that I turned a corner. I've been into personal development for kind of crazy 12 years. I think about that over a decade, and it hasn't been this linear journey. I mean,
Sure.
it's up, it's down, I go backwards, I go sideways. It's not easy. And I turned that corner once we acquired enough rentals where we felt really financially comfortable. And then I said, okay, well, what do I want out of life? Like, what do I really want my life to look like? Finances aside. And that's when I dug even more into myself and my inner work and healing. And I think it's a lifestyle. There's no destination. It's a lifelong journey. I think it's the journey of life. If you choose to live your life that way, to live in self-awareness and what you put out is what you give is what you get to some extent, and really being mindful of your thoughts, being mindful of your energy. And I took inventory of my physical health, of what I wanted my friendships, my family, everything to look like. And I constantly say, like, the highest version of myself, what is she doing in this area? I don't want to go to the gym, but I'm going to go. What is she doing in her relationships? I'm reaching out. How are you? What's going on? If someone's going through a hard time, like, I put it in my calendar and make sure as best I can, and I don't do it right all the time, but I make sure as best I can to nurture what I have, to foster new connections, to put myself first. I've become very selfish with myself when it comes to what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and not taking on other people's stuff. Like, that's yours and I can't fix you. And that's something I had to overcome. But it's a lot. I mean, your physical health, your relationships, friendships, there's a lot to cover.
There's a
So
lot.
that's where I turn the corner, I
That's
would say.
incredible, incredible. And it's good for you for doing it at this point in your journey, right? Because I work with a lot of women who are in their 40s and even 50s who
Hmm.
are struggling with some of these same issues. So, it's been ingrained in them for much longer, I would say. And then it
Yeah.
becomes even harder to get out of those habits. And I love the idea of you sort of described kind of creating the vision of who you want to be and
Hmm.
then sort of setting the habits and intentions around getting there, right? To be that person. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be it today, but you can create who you want to be. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
us are so caught up to your earlier point in the hustle and the bustle and, the
Hmm.
grind that we lose touch with what's really important.
Yeah. And that takes work and a lot of mindfulness and awareness to constantly recalibrate when you feel this doesn't feel good, I'm feeling burnt out. I mean, it's work to some degree
It is.
to be mindful and to live like that.
It is. It definitely takes some dedicated time and energy and like you said, introspection, which
Hmm.
which is not easy. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, what motivated you to teach others about real estate investing, about energy shifting and mindset mastery?
Yeah. So my husband and I were on the same wavelength. We work together full time, and we both are really on the same page when it comes to values, beliefs, lifestyle, all that good stuff. So since we work together all the time, we meet a lot of people. You go to networking events, you meet people, and we found a lot of people really interested in the things that we were sharing when it comes to how to invest, predominantly referencing real estate, and then just other people in our lives that were so interested in all the different modalities because we do a lot of different cool stuff. We and we like to share it. And people, because it's so non-traditional when it comes to the modalities that we've done or we do, people like to know and they ask about us. So we said, we go to a lot of these real estate networking events and they're great. People have a lot of great information. It's all about real estate, but there's a common theme in real estate. Whether you're a title company, an agent, an investor, there's so many parties in a transaction, and it's that, oh my God, to close a deal is just like a boulder up a hill. It's crazy. People want to invest, they're scared to be landlords, evicting tenants. It's all the worst case stuff. And real estate investing is not glamorous. I mean, especially starting out. It's rough and tough, and it takes a lot of grit. So we don't really have a lot of negative feedback when it comes to real estate because we implement just the way we live life, we apply it to how we do business. And it's not always perfect, but it works for us. It works for us. I'll have a tenant have an issue, it's 5 grand. Doesn't feel good, but I'm going to declare everything's working in my favor. It's all good. I'll set an intention and everything ends up working out. So we decided to put on a real estate networking event that incorporated mindset mastery, shifting your energy. Because when you're doing a transaction, you have so many different parties. People are so combative and aggressive with each other. We decided, let's put on a networking event to bring people together to teach people, a lot of people who want to get invested in real estate and learn the fundamentals. But also, it's not just about checking off the checklist. It's about what you're putting out, your thoughts, your perception, your mindset when it comes to what's possible, because you will never exceed your beliefs. And if your beliefs is it's hard, I'm scared to be a landlord, I'm scared to do this, I'm scared to do that, and everything, and people are scammers, and all these negative beliefs, you're not going to get very far. And
Hmm.
that's facts, right? What
Hmm.
you think, you become. So we decided to educate people, not just on real estate, but how to shift their own energy, master their mindset to have a holistic success, essentially, in real estate in whatever capacity they're in.
That's amazing. And I think that's so important because what I'm hearing you say is taking the tools and the modalities that you use in life and
Yeah.
applying them in the work that you do and in the professional setting,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is sort of a new concept for people. Because I know 20 years
Yeah.
ago when I started out in the corporate world, it was very much like this is your professional life and this is your personal life, and they don't
Yes.
intersect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is false. That's not, it's inaccurate. And trying to live that way is nearly impossible. And so I think we've evolved. We've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you talk about using these mindset tools that apply personally as well as professionally, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
how that relates to your holistic success. So I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
You talk about, like, when you talk about the energetic match to holistic success, I'm curious for
Yeah.
our listeners, any tips or tools, how can individuals align their energy with their unique definition of success?
Yeah. So I would say first, whether it's pen and paper in your notes, you have to get real simple. People like to overcomplicate it. Where do I even start? So I say the same thing across the board to everyone. Write down, be really clear. You have to have a vision. What do you want your life to look like? Write it out. And then in order to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you have to have the self-awareness to know that I like extreme ownership. That's a tool that I've been using for a couple years, and it's not for the weak. It takes a lot of discipline to deploy that, to be so responsible for everything in your life. So I
Yeah.
would say write out everything in your current life that you're not happy with,
Hmm.
whatever it is,
Hmm.
finances, your body, family, whatever it is. And that's when you're going to see, do you notice any patterns
Mm.
in your life? Same issues with friends, different friends, but it's the same problems. You have issues with money, different circumstances, but kind of the same pattern you'll notice. And you ask yourself, your limiting beliefs lie in the patterns in your life because you're unconscious to it. So to get it out and to really see it in front of you, you can start to identify where you struggle. And if someone, whatever your holistic success looks like to you, what that version of you looks like, what do they have to believe? Say you have a belief that, you know, with money, I'm scared. I have money and then it goes. I don't know where it goes, but it just goes. I always have to pay for things. There's always something. Now, the version of you who has holistic success in that area, what do they believe about money? I'm
Hmm.
sure it's going to be money is abundant. Money is constantly circulating around me, right? It's going to be some sort of positive belief. And it takes work to ingrain that. So I would say something I do myself is identify what your limiting beliefs are by the patterns in your life and what you're stuck in. And what's the opposite belief? Only you know. So you're going to write that out. And I have we'll take a tape recorder, old school. Okay. And you talk in your tape recorder and you say what these positive reaffirming beliefs are to
Hmm.
counteract your limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
And I play that every single night when I sleep. And
Wow.
I evolve it. Sometimes I find something new and I'm like, okay, I want to add that in, and I'll add it. But that's something while you're in that theta brainwave, while you fall asleep for that short time, that's when you can penetrate that subconscious mind, which is where our belief system is rooted.
That's incredible, incredible advice. And I think the other piece of that to recognize is it's your own voice.
Yes, that's very important.
Right?
Your own
That you're
voice.
hearing. It's not somebody else's voice telling you these things. You're
Yeah.
listening to yourself saying them. And so the power of taking those positive reinforcements and affirmations and
Yeah.
constantly reminding yourself to set that new belief. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Any other advice for people looking to connect with their inner power, overcoming limiting beliefs? I don't know, you talked a little bit about how you tap into your power and
Yeah.
shifting mindset. Anything else that you would add?
So I love to read. I do. And there's a couple fundamental books that I think sort of fast track that self-awareness that I would definitely recommend people read. And I would recommend only the audio version of Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I personally don't like audiobooks, but that particular book and audio version is potent. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma are my top books that I
Awesome.
would definitely encourage people to read. And on YouTube, It is called The Stranger's Secret by Earl Nightingale. You can listen to. It's 30 or 35 minutes. It's also really good. So I
Awesome.
would encourage people to read or listen to those because it just starts your mind thinking. It gives you different perspective and can kind of get the wheels turning if you just don't really know where to start. You don't know anyone else who's
Mm-hmm.
on journeys of
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness or personal development. And I would also recommend do not get lost in stimulation. That's a tough one. Stimulation over application. You can get lost in the sauce your whole life and turn around and say, well, what happened? My life is like the
Yeah.
exact same. None of this worked.
Yeah.
Because you have to, at some point, put down the books, put down the YouTubes, and there's so much amazing content.
Sure.
But I would not get lost in the sauce that way. And don't put emphasis on anyone, no matter, I don't care who they are, anyone over yourself. No one knows the answers like you know. So
Yeah.
you don't have to subscribe to $50,000 seminars and all this crazy stuff. You have to listen to your intuition and what feels right. What you listen to, what you consume, and no one has all the answers. Nobody. So don't give anyone that power that you have to do exactly what they do and do it how they do because it's not a one size fits all. And that's something I learned the hard way. You
Yeah.
have to do what feels right for you.
Absolutely. And recognizing that you have the answers, right? And really
Yes.
only you can provide the answers to the questions that you're asking. Just so our listeners can get to know you a little bit better, what would you say is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure, I would have to say, is I absolutely love true crime documentaries or
Yes.
docuseries
Yes.
on cults. Oh, sign me up. I'm so fascinated. I'm more fascinated by the cults and how they work and the documentaries,
So
but anything true
interesting.
crime, popcorn, I can zone out and just kind of, tap out and tap into that kind of kooky mind stuff
I
that
love
really
that.
interests me.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
And last question for you is a lot of times the financial piece of life can get people
Yeah.
really stuck. So I'm curious,
Yeah.
we have, this show is designed for high achieving women. And
Yeah.
so often they can be very successful in pretty much every facet of life.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there's one area they're not so confident in, they're not so sure of, they're not as well versed in, they're not as comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that can be crippling, right? Because they're so knowledgeable and confident and
Mm-hmm.
high performing in all these other areas. So then to have
Yeah.
one area where they feel like, oh, I don't know anything about this, or I'm not really good with money, right?
Yeah.
I could never be an investor. Some of those
Mm-hmm.
beliefs that come up.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people?
I would say everyone has a different version of what they want their finances to look like. Not everyone wants the same thing, right? For me, it was residual passive income was top priority. But for, high income women who make a ton of money and want to make their money work for them,
Yes.
right? They have to, everyone's got a different temperature. So I would first start with the beliefs. If you think it's not possible for you or you can't invest in whatever it is, it doesn't have to be real estate, but whatever avenue you want to invest in to make your money work for you. What do those beliefs have to be in order for you to have success in that sort of investment? Because if these are really smart women, obviously, you know how to educate yourself and learn about whatever investment vehicle just feels good to you. Or maybe you have no idea what feels good to you and feels like it's something you could learn. So, like the networking events we do, we raise capital. Tons of people raise capital for tons of different properties. Personally, obviously I am biased to real estate. It is my choice of investment, but just educate yourself on whatever it is that you feel you could get really comfortable learning. And then you obviously, if you choose to invest with other people, go with your gut. Just because people show you numbers and show you portfolios and show you all this great stuff, if you don't want to have lunch with them or maybe have dinner with them one-on-one as a person, they're not for you.
Yeah.
You have to go with what feels right to you when it comes to, using other people to collaborate and invest with.
Yeah. So connecting with the right people, learning, and not being afraid to ask for help, reach out, right? And have
Yeah,
people assist you on your journey.
absolutely. And just what are those beliefs that you would have to be successful in
Yes,
whatever investment you feel like you might be interested in?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Olivia, I'm so happy to have you on this show. Thanks for being here and sharing your insights
Thank
and
you.
expertise. How can our listeners connect with you if they're interested in attending one of your events or want to reach out?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say Instagram is probably the most used platform that I do use. And any links in the bio would be in my bio on Instagram. So I think I have to think about it because I'm so not an Instagrammer by default, but it's @OliviaLynn_C. And that's what I use. That's where we post about our events and a little bit about what I do in life. And that's where you can find me. And anything that I offer would be in the bio.
Perfect. And of course, you can visit my website at gialacqua.com, reach out on Instagram at Gia Lacqua with any thoughts, feedback, comments, or questions you have on this topic and what you'd like to hear about on future episodes. This is Gia signing off with gratitude for your time and energy. Our mic drops, but the movement continues. Until next time, your next chapter is waiting.
That concludes another empowering episode of Your Future Starts Now. Before we wrap up, I want to thank this incredible community of high-achieving women. Your energy, resilience, and commitment to growth are the driving force behind what we do. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate it, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower high-achieving women just like you. And of course, share Your Future Starts Now with the extraordinary women in your life who are also on a journey of healing and empowerment. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, let us know what topics you'd like to explore in future episodes. Stay connected on Instagram at Gia Lacqua. I encourage you to carry the energy of this conversation into your day and keep on supporting the incredible women around you. Until next time, remember, your next chapter is waiting.